Hello everyone, how you doing? This is Lead Professor QA Service. And today we're going to go over our final chapter in this series, chapter 15, finishing the project and realizing the benefits in our Contemporary Project Management Plan Driven and Agile Approaches 5th edition book. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So in this book, we're going to finishing the project and realizing the benefits. We're going to go over validating scope, terminating projects early, doing closing out the project, and post-project activities. So let's go over validate scope and punch list. The validate scope, when we're talking about validate scope, it's a formal acceptance of completed project deliverables. You have the buyer provides the seller with a formal written acceptance. Then you have to transition from executing stage to closing to the closing stage. This is in a plan-driven project. Also, you have to use a project closeout checklist to itemize project activities and/or deliverables. So notice definition: validate scope. It's formally accepting the completed project deliverables. Then we have what's called a punch list. A punch list is the list of work items that are identified during a final inspection that needs to be completed. Project managers typically need to ensure that all the project work has been successfully completed. You can refer to the charter, scope statement, the work breakdown structure, the schedule, and all communication plans to verify that everything that they committed to is actually complete. If the punch list is small enough and unfinished, things are minor, as a customer, you agree to formally take possession of the house subject to the contractor finishing the list of the punch items. Most projects are like this. The customer only formally accepts the deliverables once he or she is convinced that they will work as planned. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Terminate projects early. We have the mutual agreements. We have the termination for default and the terminations for convenience of buyer. So when we're talking about mutual agreements, there are remaining deliverables that need to be integrated into another project, stopped altogether, or continued as a lesser project or a further phase of the final project. If an agreement cannot be reached by direct negotiations, either legal or alternative dispute resolution methods can be used to reach a settlement. It is in the best interest of all parties to finish a project as is and part as friends. If both parties agree to stop the project before its planned completion, a negotiated settlement may go ahead and take place. If some of the deliverables or documentation are not complete, the project manager may need to negotiate that with the customer. Ideally, again, both parties agree what deliverables or partial deliverables go to the buyer and what compensation goes to the seller, and any outstanding issues are ultimately resolved. Termination for default. Terminations for default occur for the projects executed externally or often results from a problem with the project cost, schedule, or performance. A buyer can also decide to terminate a project early because they have lost confidence in the contractor performing the project. Take a note. Good project management practices consistently applied throughout the project can lessen the chance of early termination for cause by managing stakeholder expectations and by delivering what the customer wants on time and ultimately on budget. The termination for convenience of buyer. Projects can be canceled for the convenience of the buyer if a customer decides to terminate a project for convenience, it invokes a contract clause. This clause normally stipulates that the contractor is reimbursed for the money it has spent up to that point, and the customer takes ownership of the deliverables in whatever form they currently exist. If a decision is made to terminate a project early, the project manager is obligated to communicate this decision to their team quickly and honestly. Then you let the team know as soon as possible and just basically tell them that exactly why the decision was made. Once a decision is made and communicated to terminate the project early, much of the remaining work is similar to that of a project that is completed as planned. Close project. So you have to write transition plan. We're going to cover knowledge management and create the closeout report. There's a few challenges arise at the end of these projects. One is to keep the right workers engaged until the project completion. Often, project team members are assigned to new projects that are more exciting and cause distraction. When we're writing a transition plan helps the customer use the project deliverables successfully. Basically, the reason a project is performed is that some person or organization needs the resulting deliverables. A transition plan helps to ensure the following. Quality problems are avoided during transition. The project deliverables move into their own service or operational role. Also, when we're dealing with this, the needed maintenance, upgrades, and training typically take place. When you're dealing with this, some project deliverables are created by one group and turned over to another group. Sometimes the group performing the project also uses the results or deliverables. If there are any activities that remain incomplete when the deliverables are transitioned, they should be itemized, and the responsibility for each incomplete deliverable should be clearly identified. Now, let's talk about capture lessons learned. Lessons learned are the useful knowledge gained by project team members as they perform a project and the results that transpired. They can include what worked well, that the project team members think should be copied or adapted for use on future work. They can also include areas for which a different method maybe yield better results. Information about mistakes and what went wrong should be captured to avoid repeating them again. Knowledge management should occur throughout the project life, but may become most apparent as a project comes to an end. Project customers, whether internal or external to a company, can provide valuable feedback concerning both the project processes and results, which ultimately help our lessons learned. Disseminating and the use of lessons learned. The process of capturing and discussing lessons learned is valuable learning for the participants. More organizations effectively collect lessons learned than effectively disseminate and use them. Some organizations have created databases, shared folders, or wikis for this purpose. Please know this. However, for the remainder of the organization to capitalize on these lessons, a method must be established for documenting and sharing these lessons. When you're dealing with the closure of a project, entails ensuring that all the work has been accomplished, all resources have been reassigned, and all documentation has been completed. And right here is just an example of a grid of the lessons learned. They have a description of accountability, buy-in, commitment, communication, complexity, culture and change, expectations and meetings. This gives a description of what each one of these terms are. Let's kind of take a look at this grid and to better understand what a lessons learned looks like. Also here, planning, process improvement, project team scope, sponsor support, stakeholders, and kind of to giving a description of what this would look like in a lessons learned document is, a good takeaway to understand and what a lessons learned document looks like. When you're creating the closeout report usually includes a summary status of the project that can be gleaned from progress reports. The closeout report also normally includes lessons learned and often contains a review of the project's original justification. When dealing with a closeout report, this deliverable is required for each small project. It contains the project charter, the original work breakdown structure, a summary of the weekly progress report, and the client feedback. So, right here is just a grid or a checklist of the 4 things mentioned, and then we can decide as a project team whether it was satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and provide comments or feedback for each one of those fields. Post-project activities, you have to reassign workers, you have to celebrate the success and reward participants, you have to provide ongoing support, and ultimately you have to ensure project benefits are realized. When you're reassigning workers, helping good workers secure follow-up on work is one of the most important things a project manager must do towards the end of a project. It is important to understand aspirations and recognize individual strengths of all the project team members to make recommendations for future project assignments. Note this, that the project manager plays an important role in advising senior management and support in meeting this issue of strategic importance. Celebrating the success and rewards, reward participants, challenge, energize, limit, expert, believe, recognize, acknowledgement, transition, and ease of stress. These are things that come into play when you're celebrating the success and the rewards of participants. When people are reminded of their recent accomplishments, they realize that they just met a large challenge and are motivated to undertake new challenges. Know that team members are frequently energized to finish the last few administrative chores so they can move on to another project. By recognizing these accomplishments, they are now ready to say, hey, this project is over. We will limit any additional work on this project. Celebrations typically mark transition points as people leave one project and move on to another. And finally, celebrations of success ease the stress of working hard for a prolonged period of time, trying to accomplish and complete a project. Providing ongoing support, a transition plan. We talked about transition plan earlier, can guide ongoing support in forms of training, change management, and other services. Project managers aim to create a useful project deliverables on time and on budget. And finally, ensuring the project benefits are realized. Many organizations insist that project managers follow up with customers weeks or months after the project deliverables are in place. One of the most important measures of project success is how well the customers can use the project deliverables. Take note that when considering the full impact of the project results, project managers are encouraged to consider direct customers and other stakeholders, and also how the results contribute to other parts of the triple bottom line, profit for a parent or company, and substantiability of that organization as well. That is it for this particular chapter of finishing the project and realizing the benefits. If you have any questions or comments, just please put them in my comment fields. Everybody, go ahead and have a good rest of your day. I hope you learned something. Goodbye.